Welcome to another episode of the Please Me Not podcast, where we dive deep into the lives of people pleasers, former people pleasers, and anyone seeking a meaningful life. Join us as we explore wisdom and insights to help you craft a life that aligns with your true self. Follow along, stay open, and most importantly, resonate or take what resonates. Today, we are joined by Nifty Rony. She is a YouTuber, content creator, and a life coach, specifically around manifestation. This is a pretty spicy episode. We talk about business, we talk about relationships, what it is like to or find your Mr. Right. For her, it's her Mr. Manifestation. One of the things I would say, this is a podcast that we recorded in April, so I am starting to release these now, and I have grown a whole bunch from this. She as well. But this gives us a very interesting point in our snapshot in our own lives, while also exploring what there is in business and relationships. The other thing too is, because we're recording this in person, the audio is okay. So thank you for your patience for that. Other than that, enjoy this uncandid, uncut in a way, unfiltered version of ourselves from a few months ago. And thank you for taking the time to listen. If you enjoyed this, if you stay for even 2 or 3 minutes, click the like button and subscribe for more. It really, really helps me out. And it continues this message of a journey that begins from within is the answer to freedom. Alrighty, with that, I bring you Nifty Rony. The one and only manifestation queen over here.
I like that.
Nifty!
Yes, hello! Yeah, manifestation queen, I like that. Yeah, so I'm working on that.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm excited to see where this is gonna go. Usually I'm the one who's like always asking questions and like basically asking questions and then telling people how you should be thinking. But this is kind of like a different setup for me where the stage is yours. The stage is yours.
Yeah,
so.
well, I promise to be not too difficult for you. Maybe here and there, but...
That's fine. That's fine. Bring it on. Bring it on.
She is ready.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
So today is actually a special day as well. So
It's the eclipse.
Exactly. So how did you spend your eclipse day?
I was in a sky train. As I was passing through the sky train, I was looking at the cloudy sky of Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
And thinking, eclipse, I know you're happening behind these clouds, give me power.
Yeah, all we gotta do is feel it, right? It was
Yes.
kind of sad that we couldn't see it, because I went out during that whole
It's
time
good
too.
too.
Between like 10 and 11
Mhm.
and 1, and I was like, oh, it's obviously there, but I can't see it. But nonetheless, made a point to kind of, like walk, see it, like feel it.
Mm-hmm.
People on the East Coast though,
Yeah.
not to see it. I saw some videos like on Insta and stuff, like people are like, like they got their phones out there. I
Yeah.
saw a little bit of it, so I was like, oh, okay, I guess we kind of experienced it. How long have you been in?
It's gonna be 3 months now.
Oh, okay.
I moved here from Victoria. I did my master's there, and now I am just taking, universe is taking me along. I'm just going along right now. Right now I'm in Surrey.
Okay.
That wasn't what I was planning to do when I moved to Vancouver, but life kind of just threw me in there, and now I'm like, okay, maybe there's something to learn here. Maybe universe is preparing me for something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just enjoying that phase, and I haven't worked since this year started, but I've been doing good thanks to the universe, my sugar daddy, the universe,
The one and only.
the one and only.
We can both agree to that one.
Yes. And yeah, I've just been going where the wind goes, trying to figure out my spiritual side.
I hear you.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm also at a stage life where a lot of people come to me for advice, like especially my friends and stuff like that. Like even today, I had like a guy friend. This is the first time a guy friend has actually reached out to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he was actually like saying, hey Nifty, like I'm just going through a lot in life right now. Like I feel like I'm doing all the work, but I don't know what to do. I feel stuck and stuff like that. And it was nice, you know, like people see the light and they want to have a taste of it. So
right.
yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Like even in like the trials and tribulations that you have, it seems like you're still able to give, you know, when people ask. Especially in this context, right?
Exactly. And that's the thing, right? Like I feel like nobody would come and ask you for help if they really didn't need it, right? Because we live in a society where people think that, you know, you have to go out of your comfort zone to ask for something.
Mm.
But the thing is, in life, you don't ask. If you don't ask, you don't get.
Mm.
It's simple. Like
Yeah,
you have to ask God, you have to ask the universe, you have to ask other people. Like sometimes if you feel like it. And yeah, and nobody would ask for help if they really didn't want to get out of their current situation, right? So yeah.
A lot of times, I mean, at the end of the day, we all help each other out, but like we're so hesitant to ask for help. Like I like one of the quotes that comes to mind when you kind of say this is, be courageous enough to walk alone, smart enough to know when to ask for help, but brave enough to actually ask for it.
And that's a big thing, right? Like you see a lot of business owners, like even now that I am in that space, I can feel it. Like, you know, asking for a sale just seems like such a hard thing to do, you know? Like asking in general feels so hard. Like today, when I went out with my friend, I literally paid, like when we had our brunch and everything, I paid for everything. But when we were in Tim Hortons, I was feeling lazy, honestly. Like I got her a donut and stuff, and we were just sitting and chilling. And I was like, I wanted her to get me the tinnies that I got you, basically.
Yeah.
And they're like, what, $5? Like, it's not even about the money. It's more about, you know, like asking somebody else to do something for you. Like, just the thought of that, like it had me, like it was a kind of resistance I felt in the beginning. Like, you know, why am I feeling so guilty? Like I already spent so much money on her. It's not about the money. It's about the art of asking, you know, like we just feel so uncomfortable like asking people for help, or like they want to do it. Like,
Where do you think that stems from?
People pleasing behavior. Yeah, we don't want to be seen as weak or somebody who needs to be helped or something like that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Like we can kind of take it on our own.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's society also has a lot to do with it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the stigmas also change, right? Like, for me, the first thing that came up was, oh, like she would have to spend money on me. So it became like a financial thing. But then later when I was like, is it actually a financial thing? No, it's not. But then I crossed it off, and then it was like, it's just the act, you know, like being vulnerable and asking somebody for help.
That's huge, right? Like, I mean, I know in my case too, like, asking for help is almost like, oh, like, what will the other person think? And more so for me, as you mentioned, people-pleasing, like, behavior, right? It was like, I don't want that person to have to do anything for me because I want to do it for them. To feel, like, special. We all want to be connected. Asking for help, as you mentioned, you know, oh, this is where the vulnerability is coming out.
That's okay.
Yeah.
This is a safe space. You want me to light a candle? We have a candle right there.
We do. We'll need that in some time.
Actually, we should light it. Just get the aromas flowing.
We will.
Wait, what's your zodiac sign?
I had my birthday 2 days ago, so it's Aries.
Are you a fire sign?
Mm-hmm.
We need to light that candle. Okay.
It's an imaginary light. It's
Good. No, let that vulnerability flow.
Yeah.
You got it
sure.
right. Vulnerability. Vulnerability.
One step at a time.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Little vulnerabilities.
Yeah. And so it's such an amazing, like, simple thing, asking for help, and it's like in your case, it was just like just can you get me coffee or something, right? Like, but yet we make it up to be this like huge task in our head, and that's the other thing too. Like, our minds are our worst. I mean, it can be our worst enemy by default.
Yes.
But we can also make it our best friend.
True. Oh my God. True.
Right.
Yes.
And I will also say this from not from a testing perspective, but I guess it is. It's like, hey, if you have a need, which is like, hey, do you mind getting that coffee? And if the person you're with is like, yeah, fuck no. I mean, obviously at first it's gonna be like, oh damn, that sucks. But secondly, it's like, yo, do you want a friend or a partner like that in your life?
Exactly.
Like that just like puts you down when you have a need to express. But you did it though. So.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like once you get comfortable in your own space, you feel okay to like ask for help. And I think a lot of it comes from being in that feminine energy too. Like once you're comfortable in that space, knowing that, okay, I can do this for myself, but I'd rather somebody else do it for me, right? Like I wanted my friend to do it. And the thing that you mentioned that, like your brain can be your best friend or your worst enemy, I really like that because I remember the thought of asking her played in my mind for approximately 15 minutes. And when I asked her, the whole thing was done in like under 5 minutes.
What was her response?
She was like, oh yeah, sure. Yeah. In my head I was like, oh, I should ask her. Maybe I should go and get it, but I'm lazy. Oh, but I want my quencher. So yeah, it's a mindset, like asking for help is also mindset because we have been kind of, as a society, it's kind of like looked down upon. Like when you ask for help, it kind of, especially I think for men, it's like when you ask for help, it kind of feels like you're not capable enough or something. 100%. It becomes like an ego thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like for females, it's way more easier, especially when you're in your feminine energy, right? Like, yeah.
I definitely have a perspective there, which is absolutely true. Right? Like as a man, it's like if I 100% what you just said, if I ask, then it's like, oh, I might be less than. And in no way I'm trying to be less than, right? Especially around the company of like women.
Yeah.
Right? And that's like, whoa, no, I gotta bolster up.
Yeah.
And that's where like the ego just like shoots and takes over.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of makes sense because as a guy, you would not ask another guy to like, oh, like, would you go buy that for me, kind of a thing. Like, as girls, we usually do that.
Yeah, but why not though? See? Why not? Like, why can't I talk to a friend, a dude, whom, let's say, I have a very deep interpersonal relationship with, and if I'm not feeling that good and he's just there and we're having like a chat, and I'm like, hey, do you mind just going and getting that for me?
Yeah, I mean, it depends
right?
on the context, right? Like, if it was the same thing that happened with me and my friend, if it was you and a guy friend of yours, I think it would be quite okay. I think even if it was a guy and a girlfriend, like just friends or whatever their relationship terms are. I mean, yeah, like if my dad and my mom was feeling lazy and he was just like, could you go get it for me? My mom would be like, yeah, fine, she'll just go and get it. So yeah, I think asking should not be a problem. And
I hear you, but that's what it is though.
Yeah.
Right? Like I've had to overcome that in my life. But absolutely, like if I was just like not feeling it, like if I was in my fields, and that's with my guy friend, and I'm like, yo, fields, do you mind going getting it?
Yeah.
Typically the response is like, yo, can you quit being a pussy?
Yes.
And go and go and get it.
And I think a lot of it also has with our our fear of rejection. Because, like, think about it, like the way you said it, it kind of reminded me of sales. And why is sales such a hard thing? Because people just can't take the no's, because sales is usually a kind of job where you get like 9 no's and 1 yes, and then 1 yes makes you a lot of money, like normal sales, you know? Yeah. But the 9 no's, most people can't make it to the 9 no's.
How many no's can you make it through?
Maybe 11. I got one sale, I'm done buying.
Okay. Oh, when I used to do telephone calling back in college. And for those of you that don't know, it's like you pick up the phone, there's this like list of people that you have to call. And you just gotta call them, they're like alumni, and you just have to ask for money, like fundraising. It was so terrible that I had to do that. Because I always felt like, oh, these people already like paid for college, and now I'm the one asking for more for more money. And sometimes that's what the response would be, right? I talk to these people, and like those are the rejections, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you're asking me for money, like I just graduated from there, can you give me some money, like. Right? And
damn.
And then that's where I had like my first kind of sales experience, and I was like, yo, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Right? And then compared that to like the used car sleazy salesman, right? Which is like, oh, like when you go to a used car like showroom, right? It's like that type of sales. But as I started developing in my own journey, coming out of like a 9 to 5, starting my own online business, I was doing everything but not the sales.
Yeah.
Everyone kept pointing out to that piece. They're like, I went to this workshop too, and she checked out my like X page. She's like, oh, you have the dots, but you haven't connected them yet.
Yeah.
And my connection was the sales piece.
Yes. And that's the thing, right? Like, especially if you're like an online coach or something like that. There's the offer that you're selling, and then there's the other part, which is the sales, which gets people to the offer. Right. Because no matter how good of a product you have, if you're just standing here and shouting, oh, this is my product, buy it. No, it's not. That's kind of what I did. So I know. Yeah.
Hey, we live and learn, right?
Yeah, that's how you learn, right? Like, no, I can share. Yeah. So, basically, sales is, I would say, 50% of a business is the marketing and sales part. Excuse me. The marketing and the sales part.
I hear that. Yeah, absolutely. I have come to realize that.
Yeah.
So, and like the thing about sales too, at the end of the day, as you mentioned so eloquently, is there's the offer piece, and then there's getting people to that offer. And that getting to the that getting people to the offer is you. It's me. It's like who we are. Like it is selling ourselves.
True, yes. Yes.
And maybe that's where there's that block, I mean, that was that like block in me, right? It's like, and maybe this is going back to a little bit of like the feeling not good enough. And especially as a man, I think in today's day and age, especially men have this where it's like, it's a worthiness thing. Am I worthy of whatever it is? Yeah. Am I worthy of having a good job, having the house, having a partner, love, right? Like, am I worthy of like a woman? Let's say that's why we end up playing all these games.
I know the topic for my video. Men and their games. Okay.
Guys, maybe I'm sharing a little too much here. But
don't let her watch it.
Right? Yeah. And maybe that's what that block is at the end of the day, right? But as I've kind of worked through my healing journey, figuring out what my stories are, it's become more and more easier to, I guess, quote unquote, like sell myself. Yeah. Right? Because now I don't think of it that way. I don't think of it as a used car salesman tactic. Yeah. Right? Because now it's like, if someone, like, let's say someone comes to me and they're like, hey, I see like you're so light in life, right? Like you have this like energy, this vibe that, what is it about? What do you have?
It's so vibe.
Yeah, what do you have? And then I tell them about it and they're like, yeah, enough. Right? Like they can't accept it. And then in that way what I do is I'm like, okay, maybe this person's not ready for it. And then
have you ever considered that you are telling it to them in a way that does not really connect with them? So basically, I have done a lot of sales coaching and paid big monies on that. So basically, So one of the sales styles which I really like is called the Socratic selling model.
Okay.
So basically in that, the sales is when they come to you to ask you, like, okay, what is it that you have? Instead of telling them that what you have, you try and understand what is it they see in you. So they could be like, oh, you're doing so good. And then you could be like, oh yeah, like, is there anything in life that you are working towards? Because they wouldn't have come to you for the coaching if they did not want to get out of something or get somewhere in life, right? So, like, this is how I usually do it. So, like, when my friends reach out, like, instead of telling them what I do, I, like, ask them, like, where are you at on your journey? Like, where do you want to go? And these are hard questions, honestly.
Yeah.
These are questions which people usually don't think about. They just think that, okay, I don't like where I am in life right now. Like, I just want to get out of it. Where do you want to go? You can get out of here, like, nothing's stopping you, but where do you want to go? That is the only thing that's stopping you because you don't know where you want to go, so universe is just going to toss you, turn you wherever you want to go.
Yeah. And like most of the time people don't have, like they don't have those conversations.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like when you get this chance as a coach, they're reaching out to you to, like, you know, they want to know what's happening behind the curtains. So, like, ask them, like, where is the transformation? Like, what is it you want? Like, how do you think, what is stopping you from getting there? And then when he says, like, okay, I want to do this, but this is what I cannot do, that is when you come in and you can, like, show them the lights on the other side.
Yeah,
like,
I hear you.
Yeah.
You know, because I think sometimes that's what, like, it's understanding where they are at, which I see where you're coming from.
And most people, they won't listen to something till they feel like it came from inside them, you know?
Yeah.
Like, even when you, as a coach, if you're telling something to somebody, they think that it's an oh my god realization, when they think that, oh wait, you said that, but that connected these dots for me, and now it's like, wow.
Right.
So...
Yeah, how about the people that are just, like, not ready to receive it?
Oh, there's always people, like... So, I am with my best friend right now. She was actually my first client ever.
Oh,
yeah, like,
okay.
I have my experience dealing with traumas and, like, getting over traumas, and then, you know, trauma is more like a therapy part, right? But then life coaching is more about, okay, where you are and where you want to go, future planning. So when she reached out, she had a lot of trauma we were dealing with, but now, like, it's been like over 6 months, more than 6 months, and she's like through her trauma part, and now she's in her life growth part.
Hey, hey, sounds like you're doing something right.
Yeah, yes.
Isn't that amazing when you see that?
Yes.
In a friend and a client.
Yes.
Like,
Oh my god, it is life changing. Honestly, like how much he appreciates me. Like I asked God, like, God, send me a man who will cook for me, take me places, keep me happy, just do everything for me, and God sent me Sandy. He's like, why do you need a man? You need a man.
Close enough.
Yeah. So basically, like, through her, I've seen that, you know, now she's at a stage where she's gaining knowledge, and she's just so excited to share it with everyone. Like, she's like, oh my god, you should look at life like this too. Like, but you know what? You start doing that, and I see exactly what I was doing when I first got all this information. Like, I see myself in her right now, and she just tells it to people, and you know, after a while you realize that, you know, not everybody wants to listen. And all you need to do is shine so bright that those who see your light and they are interested to know how you got this light will reach out. They will ask you, and then you can share that knowledge. You can never force anybody to change their life or take an action or become a different person. These are really personal things, right?
Very personal. Very personal. Like, and I didn't realize how personal it was. Like, I knew it was for me because, like, you know, when I did the work for myself, I was like, wow, this is like deeply personal. But when I started doing it for others, that's when I was like, okay, like there's other things that come up that I almost like now. Part of me is like, maybe as I start getting new clients, I want to sign a little bit of an NDA in a way, because like it is like we're going to be talking about things that are so deep that even they don't know. The emotions that come out, the actions that come out as a result of it is like, it's a lot, right? Like that. I remember this time in my life where it was like last year too, not even that long. I remember watching these TikToks and I'd see like, you know, like a coach, a life coach, a manifestation coach, a love coach, all these things. Like, I would just like laugh. Yeah,
What?
I would just laugh. I'd be like, yo,
Oh my
what is
God.
this?
Oh my God.
Right?
Oh my God. Oh my God. What?
I would be like, yo, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like, what is this gimmick?
Yeah. Wow.
What is this gimmick?
Okay.
And then here, and then universe is like, yeah, I will show you the gimmick. You will be one.
You are the joke. Joke's on you.
Yeah, and now I'm the life coach. That was its own journey for me to accept that.
Yeah.
Because I was moving in that direction. I was like, I don't want to call myself a life coach because of what I told about these other people before.
You know, I had this limiting belief too. So basically, I had a skincare brand, like a small skincare brand back in India.
Okay.
And I had been doing it for 2 years. And it wasn't like a big success, but if I had given it more time and energy, it certainly had potential. But life kind of just happened in ways that it kind of pushed me into coaching, you know? It was like when I moved from Victoria to Vancouver, I lost my job and things just kind of moved in and it put me in this place where I'm like, you know what, the only thing I can do right now is make TikTok videos and YouTube videos and just coach people, like if anybody is interested.
Right.
And I was like, you know what, this is all I should be doing. Like, life is literally pushing me into it. And anytime I tried to pursue something else, I used to get like clear signs from like angels being like, stop wasting your energy on things that do not concern you. And I'm like, okay. Like literally, there was times when I was like, oh my God, you know what? I should just do UGC because I am good at content creation and it was just something that was convenient which I could do to make money or so I thought it would be like easy money. But every time I used to do something related to it, I used to like get these clear angel numbers being like, stop wasting your energy on things that don't make you happy and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, I've not listened to this stuff for long enough. And after I've started listening to it, my life has been so good. So I will just keep doing that. I will follow you, God.
Life becomes just so much lighter, right?
Yes.
And it's just kind of like, okay, this is a path, this is a path.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you about this, the whole like the whole like layoff and all, you know, because that sounds, it was a very like difficult period in your life. Okay.
I was like, basically since January, they didn't have many shifts because that is when like the retail sector kind of slows down, right?
Okay.
So they didn't have many shifts. So basically since January I wasn't working, like the whole of January, even when I was in Victoria. And then in February I moved here and then they told me they didn't have any shifts for me. So I was still thinking that maybe in March I will have shifts. So the whole time I was in peace and I knew that universe, you told me to come here, I came here, now you take care.
So like how was that process like? Like, okay, you know, you got laid off and then why did you not look for another job as opposed to kind of moving in this direction?
I did.
So much more scarier.
I did.
Okay.
I did look for jobs and it was interesting because there were times when I was like this close to getting like jobs which were like really good paying jobs in my same industry. And honestly, I wasn't even looking for it. It was like somebody asked me if you're looking and I was like, yeah, and then they made a recommendation and it went so close. And I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is a sign. But I came so close and I didn't get it. Because in the last moment, they changed the position that they were hiring for.
What?
In the last moment. And I was so disappointed, like, you know, and once you have that taste of, you know, like making like over $35 an hour and suddenly you're like, everything else is bad.
You tasted the good life.
Yeah. In my head, I'm like, no, we're not going back to that. And then I kept applying for other jobs and basically with very easy, super easy jobs which I would easily be getting into. like I was getting rejected, and I was like, what is happening? Like, this is not how it's supposed to be. Yeah. And then I was actually having a conversation with a friend, and by the time I had already started working on this, coaching stuff and posting TikToks, YouTubes and all that, and then she was like, Nifty, why are you looking? Like, that is not your life's calling. You're never going to go back to a 9 to 5. So why are you looking? Stop. And that hit me like a realization. That was like, oh my God, she's so fucking right. Like, I don't pushing myself to go back to that because I fear surrendering. Like, kahan se aayega paisa? Like, where will the money come from, right? Like, and that was a very hard thing to do. And honestly, the first month was fine. The second month was like, okay. The third month was so hard. I was like, I had no idea where the money is going to come from or how things were going to happen. By the end of the month, 3,000 just out of thin air. It just came out.
How did that feel?
It was S. Like, literally when that happened, I was like, oh my God, this shit works.
It works, people. It works. You just gotta give it a chance.
Yeah, and not from one source, from different places just coming in. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And I think that was like a moment which was like, it was like a big shift in my reality, honestly. Like, when things like that actually happen to you, you're like, oh my God. And then it was like, this is it. I am never going to worry about money again. And then April 1st hit. I'm like, God!
Another 3,000, please.
And like literally the other day I was at my friend's and I was complaining that, oh my God, like, next month is coming, I don't know what's gonna happen. And then she's like, oh, I just got like some money from Canada deposit. I was like, wait, you got money? Why did I get money? I got money too. And so here I am today.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know how this is gonna unfold.
Yeah, and that's the scary part, right?
Yeah, and I feel like the more, like, it's not easy. You have to let go little by little. But the more you start to let go, it becomes easier. You start to trust the process more and more. Like I said, the first month was okay, second month, third month, it was like, oh my God. But once that happened, it's just like, wow, this is it, like, this is gonna keep happening. Like, there is no other way. Like, even if I'm trying to manifest an amount, in my head I know, even if I don't manifest that amount, there's no way that I will be less than what I need to survive. I'm at that stage in life right now, so I'm like...
Because you deeply know it.
And I think there's also other things which add to the belief, like my astrology says that, I will never have problems with money, like money will just flow in, and these are like things that kind of like reinforce your belief system too, right? When somebody says that, like, I vividly remember asking the astrologer, like, on Astro Talk, if you want to sponsor us.
There's the plug.
Yeah, so it was an Astro Talk, and I asked him, like, oh, what about my financials? And he's like, you don't have to worry about your financials. You never have to worry about your financials. Like, you will be making lots of money in this lifetime. And like, literally my whole astrology chart has like maybe one thing about love and relationship and like 25 things about how wealthy and famous I'll be. And I'm like, okay, I get it, but when is he gonna come? And it's like the monkey mind always looking for things that we can't find, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing you mentioned that, right? Because like we do have a monkey mind, right? Like that's like over here.
Yeah.
It's our lizard mind, monkey mind, right? And it's like 4 things. It's negativity. It is worry of what other people think, worry about the past, and rumination about the future. Right? So it's like these things that are just like constantly there if you're not conscious. And that's where like, the work, the tools like come in, right? To kind of pull us out of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a great segue into, I guess, like dating then in that case, right? So it's like, okay, now you know that wealth is coming your way. You're taking the actions in that direction. what is relationship with men like? So are you happy kind of being in this like independent boss girl phase of your life? And like, is that all there is to it?
So that's an interesting question because I think as humans, most of us, I wouldn't say all, but most of us are wired to be in a kind of, society relationship. Like we want to be with other people, we want to feel loved. We're social creatures, basically. And especially being a woman, I think most women have this feminine urge to love and provide. So yeah, I feel like I'm in a stage in life where I'm happy and I'm single and I'm happily single. Yeah, and it's a choice, right? Because it's not like I don't have men pursuing me or, who want to date me. It's because I feel like I'm at a stage in life where I know exactly what I want. My standards are high. I like them like that. And if you are not the one, I've played around with enough men for this karmic lifetime. Yeah, so we're in our healing journey. We won't do that to any more men. Yeah,
I'm glad because I was probably gonna run out the balcony.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and yeah, so I feel like I'm in a space where I'm happy and I'm single. But yes, if the right guy comes along and he's giving me everything that I would expect from a relationship and a guy, and if we're happy together, how the relationship thing works, same values and all that. So basically now I have a whole list of what I want from the guy. My Mr. Manifestation.
Alright, Mr. Manifestation. Love the sound of that actually.
Yeah.
Would you mind sharing some of the attributes on the list?
So a few of them are like, we should have the same values and he should have the growth mindset. Yeah. So for me, it's also important that, we have like a healthy lifestyle. When I say healthy, I don't mean like eat healthy foods and all that. Like, yeah, I obviously do that. But I also like my chicken fried. But more like, yeah, he works out and, I work out. So he likes to read books because I like to do that. Somebody who's just involved in their own spiritual journey. Yeah. So kind of like in a, groove.
Yeah.
Together.
I mean, that's a good list. That's a good list.
Yeah.
Just like from another person.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
I feel like that list is not very, it's not necessarily just for a woman. Anyone can fit that, right? I mean, that's a great list. Let's say for a guy to have too.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? You should know what you are looking for. What are your negotiables when it comes to a relationship? What's an example of a negotiable? Let's say, okay, a blonde guy. So, yeah, I would like to date, let's say blue eyes. I like guys with blue eyes. Examples. So I like a guy with blue eyes, but if he has dark eyes, yeah, that's okay as long as his eyes are beautiful. Right? So,
well, if he has a beautiful soul, then the eyes are going to show it.
Exactly, right? But some things are non-negotiable. What if we don't have the same values, right? What if he has a more patriarchal mindset or something like that? Those things before, when I was in my dating phase, I didn't really look at these things. But once you reach a certain level and you're seeing that guy after guy is just not working out, you start seeing that, okay, why is it not working? And the way we think is not aligned. And that's why we see nowadays the divorce rates are so high and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because
it's flip a coin and you're either going to be divorced or not. That's how high it is.
Yeah. And that, I feel that's also the thing, right? People start dating and then there's the dopamine phase. You fall in love in the dopamine phase and then you just get comfortable with each other.
Yeah. It's
not exactly oh yeah, we actually love each other and we want to do many things for each other. For most people, they just get comfortable. Yeah, he's there, she's there. Fine.
Yeah, that's it,
yeah, and nobody puts in extra effort from their end. And that's the thing, right? Once you stop putting efforts into anything, It dies. Even if it's just a plant, if you stop watering it, it dies.
Yeah, like see, there's like a plant over there.
That's dead?
And it's partly dead. Yeah. I was like, so okay, before anyone comes at me, I just moved into a place for a month.
Okay.
So I'll start watering it, we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes,
So what about you?
So I can bring that energy, yeah.
So what do you think are some of the things that you look for when you go hunting for girl hunting? I like that. Men go hunting for girls.
I prefer pursuing, because I used to chase before, which is very similar to hunting. But I prefer pursue as a word because there is a subtle difference there. For me, the list is pretty short, just like me.
Okay.
I have 4 things really, mainly. It is attractive.
Okay.
Outside, yes, but on the inside, which matters more. Receptiveness. How receptive she is to my ideas. Not necessarily like she has to take them on, but just like being receptive to it and my lifestyle. She's ambitious. And this one I've had to figure out. So she's ambitious, but she's not as ambitious as I am.
That's a very fair thing, right? Like,
yeah.
Like you can look at it as a limiting belief that you don't want to be with a partner who is more successful than you, but that is, like, I think it's kind of agreeable. Like for me, I want to be with a man who is more ambitious than me.
Yeah.
Because if I ever want to like lay back and be like, you know what, I'm just giving up all my business. Like I made like $1 million. There's kids I have to take care of. You bring me money.
Right.
He has to be willing to do that.
Yeah. 100%. And actually, I used to have that mentality before, where it was like, yo, she can be any level of ambition. But then I got caught up in it. And then I realized, from a feminine perspective, a feminine woman wants, as you're mentioning right now, that she wants her man to actually have more ambition than her, so she can surrender to it.
Yes.
And that's where we're caught up in this world today, where women are starting to become the breadwinners. And then they ask, where's all the good men at? Where they're there, but maybe they're not making as much and they're not in their providing element as much than the woman.
I think, like before I used to think that, okay, maybe there is a shift in dynamic, but I think there's both increase of both sides coming up, right? Like there's also an increase of women being more in their masculine energy, that is on the rise, but also men being mommied by their mommies is also on the rise. I see that with my mom and my brother. Like I would say he became independent at a very young age. Like when he was 20, he left home and everything, and he was fine. But he was still mommied, Like just because you leave home doesn't mean you're not mommied.
Yeah. I mean, and then you start looking for that in other women.
Yes, exactly. And now he is in a relationship where he wants to be mommied, and obviously the woman wants to be in her feminine, and there's always a fight because this thing which they both want is not being met. Yeah.
And that actually brings me to my number 4. Very beautiful segue, which is she's on her healing journey in some way, shape, or form. Because, and this is okay. Let's see if I get canceled for this one. So a woman, from my understanding, is also looking for love from a man. However, if she's not on her healing journey, she's not going to be able to accept the love that he is given.
Yes. I mean, for two people to be in a relationship, it's really important that they are vibing on the same frequency, right? So let's say you really like a guy. Like my example, I don't like a guy, but example. I don't chase, okay? For the camera. So let's say that I'm really trying to like get this guy's attention. But if that guy is not on my frequency, like if he does not like me, or if he does not appreciate the kind of love that I'm bringing on the table, maybe he's a fuckboy, or he's just looking for hookups or something like that. And if we're not on the same frequency, we're not gonna vibe. Like, so usually the people who get into a relationship together are looking to vibe in the same frequency, or they just have been ignoring having a conversation about what they are. basically a situationship.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually I see that. I was watching a podcast recently and it was with Matthew Hussey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
yeah.
he's so handsome.
He's
He
taken.
should be a relationship coach. I will take his advice.
And that is a terrible way to take advice from someone. I mean, he has the experience, but just because someone is handsome, you shouldn't be taking like relationship advice. He's valid. Okay, he's valid.
I agree, but
Yeah.
it's like an added stamp that he's pretty.
It's an added stamp.
Yes.
I will give you that.
Yes, that's what it is. It's
Okay.
like a normal guy, yeah, I'll talk about him. Matthias, yes, I will talk about him. Yeah.
But he does have the experience. So anyway, so with him, like in his podcast, he was talking about how there's like, if we don't have difficult conversations, the connection gets stuck. Doesn't that necessarily mean like just romantic and relationships, but even friendships or like parent-child
Yeah.
or siblings. Like if you don't have difficult conversations, willing to let the ego, the self, like kind of subside and have that difficult conversation. It just gets stuck and it's not able to move forward, which really goes back to that. You know, it just becomes a situationship.
Yeah.
And do you think there's a space for that? Because sometimes people might not vibe at the same level, but it's like it's here, it's now. You
Yeah.
know.
So.
Because I've struggled with this too. I'm like, yo, do I just like not like if someone meets, let's say, 80% and not the whole 100, do I just let them fucking go just because of that? Or do I like, here, I'm here right now in this moment. I'm willing to explore it. Let's have the conversation too. But I'm here and I'm willing to explore it. If someone, let's say if someone comes along later on, okay.
So the way I look at it, the way you explained that relationship is more like a settling thing in life, right? Like, okay, it's an 80, it's not 100, but I'm going to willing to try with the 80. So again, it comes back to what you think you deserve. If you think that, oh yeah, it's fine, and the other thing is, settling is not bad. Say that, oh, it's a settlement of people, like Vancouver is a settlement of people who have come and settled down here.
Yeah.
And in the end of the day, that's all we want to do. We want to settle down in life. You don't want to keep chasing a new guy every 2 months.
No.
So-
How tasking is that?
Tell me. I know. Let's have a conversation about that later. Yeah.
And likewise, right? Like it's tasking.
Yes.
It's a lot.
So at the end of the day, we're all looking to settle down, but if I know that, okay, this is what I want in life, I have two options. Like, I put the intention out there that, okay, this is what I want in life. So the universe can do a bunch of things. The universe can be like, okay, you're not getting that because maybe that's not the best thing for me. That, that could happen.
Yeah.
And it would send me something better. That is one. Or, which is usually what happens in the universe, honestly. Like, end of the day, it just gives you something better.
Yeah.
But sometimes, I completely forgot where I was going with this topic again.
The train is still around. It's we're kind of talking about settling.
Yes, settling. So basically, if I know exactly what I want, and I'm waiting, and I've put the intention out there, universe might bring me something which is like 70% of what I'm looking for. And now, the beautiful thing is, we are in control here. It's our life. And if you see that 70%, and if you think that, okay, this is actually great, I can actually live with this. Maybe you didn't need the 100%. Maybe 70 was all you needed. And you just didn't know it. So you agree to go with that, and that is it. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, maybe that 70% was sent to teach you a lesson.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But then now if you don't participate with that at all.
No, if you don't participate, that is basically you not showing up for your desire. Like when the universe sends you something and you're waiting here for a relationship and somebody wants to approach you and talk to you, like completely shutting them down would be like saying that no, universe, this is not what I want.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I was getting at, right? It's like,
Yeah.
yo, like, here's the 70%,
Mm-hmm.
but no, it's like, there's no 30.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
again, if it was me,
Yeah.
and if I'm like, okay, I want a guy who's so and so, and I see that universe sends me somebody, and he is so and so, but he's not so,
Yeah.
and this so is very important to me.
Okay.
Then I am like, universe, no, I don't want So I'd be like, universe, no, I don't want this. Send me something better. Like, that is a choice.
Mm.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we all have a choice.
I hear you.
But you have to go with what you feel is right. For me, that is really important. The gut feeling or the intuition, whatever you call it.
It
Blah,
sounds
blah,
like,
blah.
it sounds like you are willing to be open to the 70% as long as that 70% is part of your non-negotiables.
More like if I feel it is right. Like, in the end of the day, it doesn't come from me. I have my list and my points and all that. Like, yeah, he should check it all out. But end of the day, we're humans. We are run by emotions. And if he feels right, if I feel safe, if, it's just like, you have a feeling, right? Like, for me at least, I have a feeling. It's like, wow, that was amazing. Yeah, that is a feeling. Yeah.
Are you talking about the butterflies in the stomach feeling? Or, because that's a whole, like, there's...
So there's the butterflies, but
which is
there's
not
also,
the best.
like, for me, at least for me, personally, I need the butterflies and the calm kind of a person. Like, I've been with guys, like most guys I date, I'm the one who breaks it off, because there comes a stage in life where it's like, oh yeah, there's butterflies, and then eventually the butterflies fade and, life falls into normal, and then it's just the peace and quiet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, time to move on.
She loves the drama.
But I do, but then I'm also a very nice person, like, I'm not the kind that causes any drama. No, really, like, you don't get into any fights, like, even when I was in college and stuff, like, all the guys that I was dating, they were, like, so happy. They're like, oh, my girlfriend doesn't cause any drama, like, all I have to do is feed her every afternoon. Yeah. And yeah, so I have always been like a very understanding people pleaser also growing up, but very understanding towards situations and stuff, like I feel like my response to fight or flight is always flight, because I feel like there's so many times where I stayed longer than I should have, just because I thought that things would change in the relationship, like maybe if I give more, he will give me kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's
bad.
And
it happened with like almost every relationship, because in the beginning I'm like, yeah, neutral, but then the men have this strategies that you do where you give and then you decrease the level of giving till it's like the bare minimum.
Initially.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. And then there's like not much effort. I mean, there are guys who have kept doing it and things just didn't work out, and that was different. But most guys I see are like that, like there's a phase and then it's gone. So for me, it's important that I find someone who's always willing, and the butterflies don't come by themselves. It's something you do. It's an effort you make. Like, I am a very extra person, so I need a Mr. Very Extra person.